Hello, dear viewers watching RTD's English News Edition. Here are our headlines for this edition. It was this morning that the 14th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of States and Government of IGAD opened at the Kempinski Hotel Palace. Transfer of the Presidency of IGAD to the Presidency of the Republic of Djibouti. In our international news, hundreds of Palestinians at risk of forced eviction. Thank you for joining us in our newsroom. Today marked the commencement of the 14th IGAD Summit at the Kempinski Palace as leaders from the IGAD member states gathered to discuss regional progress and strategies for sustainable development. More details with Dini Musa.
Today, the Kempinski Palace was graced with its splendor to welcome the distinguished leaders of the IGAD member states. In this noble and solemn assembly, IGAD, which groups together the Republic of Djibouti, Ethiopia, Sudan, South Sudan, Somalia, Kenya, and Uganda, met in Djibouti for its 14th ordinary session. His Excellency, the Head of State, accompanied by his peers, entered the Nakhel Hall. The 14th session was attended by a number of high-level officials, including the United Nations Secretary General Special Envoy for the Horn of Africa and the Special Envoy of the European Union. Several countries, including the United States of America, Japan, and China, were represented. A representative of the World Bank also took part in the summit. Djibouti, being the host country, President Ismail Omar Guelleh had the honor of inaugurating the 14th IGAD Summit. The 14th IGAD Summit provided a valuable opportunity for IGAD member states to take stock of progress made in addressing these issues and to exchange ideas on new strategies for achieving sustainable development in the region. Discussions focused on a wide range of crucial issues relating to peace, security, and development in the region. In particular, the situation in Sudan was at the heart of the debate. For some time now, the sister country has been experiencing clashes which have had an impact on the country's health, agriculture, and infrastructure, resulting in galloping inflation and a massive outflow of the Sudanese population. IGAD member states pledged to work hand in hand, adopting a common vision to meet the challenge of facing the region. In other words, a commitment to combine a common grammar to bring peace to the joint country of Sudan, but also to stand united in tackling the countless complex challenges facing the region, and to promote peace, stability, and prosperity for all their populations. In sum, the 14th Summit provided an opportunity for IGAD member states to assess the progress made in addressing these issues while examining new strategies for achieving sustainable development in the region. In the majestic setting of the Kempinski Palace, these inspired leaders continued their quest for a better future for their people. Their thoughtful exchange and enlightened discussions are the foundations on which a promising future to the IGAD region will be built. The Republic of Djibouti is once again demonstrating through the crucial IGAD Summit it hosted this morning its ability to live up to the profile of the privileged platform for the dispute settlement that is emerging in this part of the world. In addition to the heads of state and government of IGAD member states, this morning's summit was attended by a number of senior officials, including the United Nations Secretary General Special Envoy for the Horn of Africa and the European Union Special Envoy and the representative of the African Union Commission.
In his opening remarks at the 14th Ordinary Summit of IGAD, Mr. Warkne Gabayo, the Executive Secretary of IGAD, extended his heartfelt gratitude and appreciations to His Excellency President Ismail Omar Guelleh for hosting this significant event in the 14th Ordinary Conference of Heads of States and Government of IGAD. Here's what he said.
Your Excellencies, we must recognize the momentous and positive developments in the peace and security for the IGAD region, beginning with the IGAD-driven dialogue on the sideline of 39th Extraordinary Assembly of IGAD Heads of States and Government held in July 2022 that de-escalates, bring together the brothers and sisters countries, the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia and the Republic of Sudan. However, Your Excellencies, the gains we banked from this agreement are now being eroded by the ongoing conflict in the Republic of Sudan, which has resulted in immense suffering, with hundreds of brothers and sisters losing their lives, thousands injured, and over 1.4 million displaced since the fighting broke out almost 2 months ago on 15th of April 2023. I commend the swift response of our wise and concerned excellencies, the heads of states and governments of IGAD, who convened an emergency summit meeting on 16th of April 2023 within less than 24 hours on onset of hostilities to respond, to make an effort to contain the situation.
In his address, Mr. Moussa Faki, President of the African Union Commission, acknowledged that the Ordinary Summit of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, serves as a platform to discuss various issues of common interest among other member states.
Excellencies, the extreme seriousness of the violent crisis that is engulfing brotherly Sudan and the dangerous threats it poses to the existence of this country and the entire region are obvious. All analysts agree that this war, if this war does not stop immediately, civil war will set in, chaos will prevail, and the Sudanese state will totally collapse. Excellencies, Head of State and Government, since the outbreak of violence in 15 April 2023, I have heard some people spreading untruths about the position of the African Union. The Sudanese crisis is on such a scale that it does not allow for any division of ranks or procrastination. It calls for swift action. It calls for united action and a strong solidarity on our part. I therefore call for total unity between the regional and continental organizations, IGAD and African Union. This is the sine qua non condition for the effectiveness of our solidarity with Sudan. It is the imperative for mitigating foreign interference. It is the sine qua non condition for mobilizing our partners and getting them to adhere to this fundamental principle of African solutions to African problems, on which the Sudanese crisis is the prototype.
Also participating in the summit in her speech, the Vice President and spokesperson of the Secretary General of the United Nations expressed gratitude to the President of the Republic and all the attending heads of states and government.
The holding of this summit during this challenging time is yet another demonstration of IGAD's commitment to addressing the challenges of this region. I wish to reiterate the enduring commitment of the United Nations to support IGAD's efforts in this regard. The developments in the Republic of Sudan are of serious concern to the United Nations, as is the case for everyone in this room. The ongoing conflict is taking a toll on the entirety of the country and also the neighbors of Sudan, and we all wish to contribute constructively to silencing the guns. Needless to say, civilians are bearing the brunt of this conflict, and the humanitarian impact is staggering. This conflict will not be resolved by more fighting. It is important to take firm steps on the path to peace, have a sustainable ceasefire, further on the cessation of hostilities to facilitate humanitarian deliveries and support to civilians. And we look forward to the resumption of political dialogue to bring an end to this situation of conflict and strife. We appreciate the actions of the neighbors of the Republic of Sudan, who have opened their borders to refugees, even while dealing with their own particular challenges. And note that the consequences of conflict are felt not only in violence, but in the increase in poverty, as this is a region that has so much heritage, culture, and resources. We believe that all of us would be better off if the world knew the Horn of Africa region for the treasures that it has, and not the strife that currently persists.
In his speech, the Vice President of the Sudanese Sovereign Council highlighted the significance of presence of all the heads of state and government at the summit.
Your Excellencies, this meeting here today gives us the opportunity to take a stock of the tremendous achievement we have made in responding to the multitude other non-security challenges affecting our states and citizens. The residual effect of the COVID-19 pandemic continue to be felt in the lives and the livelihood of the people and economic recovery in an environment of high inflation rates that have driven the price food essentials commodities out of reach that most vulnerable among us remaining a shared and possessing concern not just here, our region, but all over the world. Your Excellencies, our region at this time emerging from the worst drought in the 40 years. And recent weather patterns have shown that after extreme drought comes widespread flooding, which causes the displacement of our citizens and further worsen the food security status of our countries. I therefore call upon all of us to pull together to respond to the current situation and at the same time also continue to come up with more permanent solutions to the chronic challenges of drought and food insecurity that has come to define our region. Excellencies, dear brothers, as I come to the conclusion of my remarks, I call upon our member states, our partners, and the international community to redouble your support for all the efforts IGAD is making towards peace building, development, and regional integration. Let us seize this opportunity. This summit meeting presents to strengthen diplomatic, political engagements, as well as build on the existing goodwill between ourselves, as well as interlinked, interdependent, and interconnected communities and countries to deliver durable peace and lasting solutions for our people. Excellencies, here I recognize and express the sincerest gratitude of the entire IGAD summit to our multinational partners, particularly the African Union, United Nations, the European Union, and the Gulf Cooperation countries. On behalf of IGAD, I also recognize and thank all our bilateral partners who have made meaningful commitments and tangible contributions with the political, diplomatic, and material support for real solutions of challenges we are facing as the region.
The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, began his address by acknowledging the critical role played by regional cooperation in unity in promoting peace, stability, and development in the region. Let's listen to the President.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Excellencies, heads of states and governments, excellencies, ministers, and heads of delegations, Commissioner for Peace and Security, Mr. Special Representative of the Secretary General of the United Nations, distinguished members of the diplomatic corps and international organizations, ladies and gentlemen, before I delve into the issues at hand, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all of the heads of states and government who have taken the time to join us in Djibouti today despite their demanding schedules. It is my great pleasure to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you to the 14th Ordinary Assembly of IGAD Heads of States and Governments, Excellencies and dear brothers. Your presence here today is a testament to our collective commitment to regional cooperation, peace, and development. As you well know, since its inception by our fathers nearly 40 years ago, IGAD has served as an indispensable platform to address the numerous challenges we face, ranging from economic disparities and climate change to security threats and regional conflicts. These meetings thus provide us with a unique opportunity to engage in open and constructive dialogue on issues that matter most to our nations and our peoples. Since our last meeting 4 years ago, a lot has changed both in our region and the world, and we bear the responsibility of steering our nations through those challenging times towards development, peace, and stability. Indeed, navigating these challenges requires bold leadership, innovative solutions, and a shared vision that transcends borders and ideologies. It is therefore my hope that over the course of this summit, we will engage in robust and fruitful discussions, leaving no stone unturned in our pursuit of innovative ideas and tangible outcomes. The decisions we make, the agreements we reach, and the commitments we undertake will shape the future of our nations. I thank you all.
In a crucial gathering, the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, joined heads of states and government from neighboring countries to address the pressing issues in Sudan and discuss strategies to restore peace and stability.
President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, the President of South Sudan Salva Kiir, and the President of Kenya William Ruto. In the course of their talks, the leaders of the IGAD member countries discussed the worrying situation in Sudan and the bloody conflict that is causing a steady stream of casualties.
And alongside the 46th IGAD Summit, a three-party meeting brought together Djibouti, Kenya, and Sudan, focusing on the Sudanese crisis and exploring ways to halt the violence and provide essential humanitarian aid. More details in this video.
Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh took part in a three-party meeting between Djibouti, Kenya, and South Sudan. The Sudanese crisis was at the heart of discussion during today's three-party meeting, and the consequences and humanitarian crisis caused by the conflicts in Sudan were discussed at length. The meeting was also attended by Foreign Minister Mahmoud Ali Yusuf and Kenyan Foreign Minister.
In a productive meeting, President Ismail Omar Guelleh engaged in discussion with the Deputy Chairman Malik Agar of the Sudanese Sovereignty Council, emphasizing the urgency of halting the ongoing conflict and alleviating the humanitarian crisis in Sudan. More details in this video.
On the sidelines of the 14th Summit on the Intergovernmental Authority on Development IGAD, President Ismail Omar Guelleh received this morning the Deputy Chairman of the Sudanese Sovereignty Council, Mr. Malik Agar. During the meeting, the recent developments in the Sudanese arena were reviewed, giving the ongoing war that has led to the evacuation of foreign nationals from Sudan, as well as the displacement of a large number of citizens. During the meeting, Deputy Chairman Malik Agar expressed his appreciation for the efforts exerted by the Djiboutian leadership by President Ismail Omar Guelleh.
In a significant development at the IGAD Summit, the heads of state and government gathered to adopt and sign the IGAD Treaty, marking a pivotal moment and key moment for the regional organization. This momentous occasion harks back to the directive issued during the 13th ordinary session of the IGAD Assembly in November 2019. The newly adopted treaty serves as a reaffirmation of IGAD's status as a regional economic community and brings it in line with its sister regional economic regs. This alignment underscores the organization's commitment to promoting regional integration and collaboration among African nations. The treaty's adoption reflects the collective determination of IGAD member states to strengthen the organization's role and enhance the effectiveness in addressing regional challenges. By solidifying its status as a recognized regional economic community, IGAD is poised to forge stronger ties with other RECs, fostering greater cohesion and synergy in pursuing common objectives. And during the ordinary summit of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, a significant moment took place as the presidency of IGAD was handed over to President Ismail Omar Guelleh. This symbolic transfer of leadership signifies the trust and confidence bestowed upon President Guelleh by his fellow IGAD member states. It highlights the recognition of his commitment to regional cooperation, peace building, and sustainable development. As the new president of IGAD, President Guelleh assumes the responsibility of guiding the organization and steering its collective efforts toward addressing regional challenges and promoting the well-being of the member states. The IGAD community looks forward to the visionary leadership and continued dedication of President Guelleh in advancing the goals and aspirations of the organization. And thereafter, the President of the Republic delivered a speech where he was delighted to accept the presidency of IGAD organization. Let's listen to the President of the Republic for more details.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الأمين. Mesdames et messieurs, au nom du gouvernement et du peuple de la République de Djibouti, je suis ravi d'accepter la présidence de l'Assemblée de l'IGAD.
On behalf of the government and people of the Republic of Djibouti, I am delighted to accept the presidency of the IGAD Assembly. It is an honor that you, heads of state and government and dear brothers, have bestowed on me and my country. I am well aware of the honor and responsibility that go with the trust you have placed in me to lead our organization for 1 year. I thank you and assure you of my unwavering commitment to working in concert with all members' countries in the exercise of my mandate. I would like, first of all, to congratulate the outgoing president of IGAD, His Excellency Mr. Burhan, the chairman of the Serving Council, for his leadership and despite the difficult conditions. My gratitude also goes to the Executive Secretary, Dr. Warkane, and all his staff for the efficient way in which they constitute and continue to manage the affairs of the IGAD Secretariat. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, almost 4 decades after its creation, we can be proud of the progress made by our organization. At the same time, our challenges remain many and pressing. During my presidency, I shall endeavor to carry out the heavy task entrusted to me by moving forward in the pursuit and realization of the objectives set by our organization in its Vision 2050. These include, first and foremost, consolidating peace and security in our region, a quest for economic development and regional integration. Aware of the security challenge, I pledge to spare no effort to ensure that our region can cope with the threats and achieve a lasting peace and stability. The alarming situation in Sudan is at the heart of our concerns, and I can assure you of my total availability to find a rapid solution to this conflict. We welcome the progress made by Somalia in recent years and the holding of parliamentary and presidential elections. Finally, another issue that I consider essential during my term of office, and especially with your support, is the strengthening of IGAD's institutional capacity for optimal operation. We have, in fact, already undertaken a number of important reforms which, for the good of our organization, must be implemented very, very quickly. In conclusion, I would like to assure you that defending and promoting the interests of our institution will be at the heart of my concerns throughout my mandate. With your support, Excellencies, dear brothers, ladies and gentlemen, I have no doubt that together we will succeed in writing a new page in the history of our dear organization. Thank you for your support.
And in an interview with the media, the Executive Secretary of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, Dr. Warkane Gebeyu, said the following.
Really, this is the most anticipated day for the region because of the nature of the meeting. This is an ordinary session which is happening after 4 years. We had a lot of extraordinary sessions. So two very important things. Number one is the current situation of our region, that the challenge we are facing in the Republic of Sudan. This summit has discussed, based upon the proposal of the tripartite or troika of our heads of state and government led by President Salva, and come up with a clear roadmap that will be the way forward how to resolve the conflict in the Republic of Sudan. And also this summit has stressed that we don't have time, we have to act swiftly on the situation. Our brothers and sisters in Sudan, they are suffering displacement, refugees, shortage of food, every challenges that
the people of Sudan, who were previously hosting millions of refugees, now is suffering. So one thing is the most important thing outcome is this one. The second thing is institutional thing. We did endorse the treaty of the organization, which is one of very important component of the organization, which will stipulate the rules, the regulations, and everything about the organization. So that will say different things. For example, the chairmanship, it is going to be from now onward 1 year. That is a rotation from one year. This is the new development which comes to this thing. There are also other institutional issues which we have discussed and resolved. So for IGAD as an institution and for the region, that's why we say very important. We got a new chairman, that's Excellency President Ismail Gille. He's the host of this organization for the last 36 years. So this is also another very important development that makes strong our organization. So we are going to aspiring to be rule-based organization, the organization which works with predictability and with transparency. The next step and the most important thing is the Sudan situation. As we have said earlier, now the leaders has put a clear direction to engage the both parties. That is going to happen within the next 10 days. And the other is creating humanitarian corridor. That is also going to happen within 2 weeks. And also the engagement, the political engagement will continue after 3 weeks. These all things are very important things that we are going to do. This is the treaty, you know. Treaty is all about this organization is going to be ruled. And it's a lot of articles, more than 40 something articles, which will clearly direct the way forward that we are going to work. This is one thing. I cannot go detail these things. Treaty is one of the things that establish this organization itself. It has changed after 36 years. So this is also another big event for our organization. And this treaty was on the table for the last 10 years. But I'm very happy that we have succeeded to make it on my tenure.
Other news of this edition: after the Arthur region, the handover commission from the Ministry of the Interior today traveled to the Unity region, Dikhil, to supervise the handover of powers between the outgoing prefect Aden Dirar Musa, who had been assigned to head of the Dikhil region, and the new prefect Hassan Abdi Roble, newly appointed to the head of the Dikhil region by the Council of Ministers. The handover ceremony was preceded by a warm welcome from the community in all its diversity to great outgoing prefect Aden Dirar and wish him every success in his new duties, and to welcome incoming prefect Hassan Abdi. Following this popular welcome, the parties concerned and the handover commission signed the handover documents before Mr. Hassan Abdi Roble was officially installed in the chair of the prefect of the Unity region. The handover was followed by a meeting to make contacts with the heads of the various deconcentrated services, as well as traditional leaders in other sections of civil society.
جنبي إفكاي دخيلي كركاكاي برسلوك يمكن لشربي عاصماي إنكتينو مفدقاي دربي بلتوبكي دولتك منع عمودي دخل عيونتا ودحرساي إنكتينو يودري توبكينو دحرساي كركاكاي برسلوك يمكن لشربي عاصماي إنكتينو مفدقاي معادينا باطي شبابكي مدني مضى جنبي إفكار.
In a ceremonial act, the newly appointed prefect of Ali Sabih, Abdul Malik Muhammad Bunaita, made his official visit to Ali Sabih city, accompanied by a delegation and former constituents. More details in this video.
accompanied by a large delegation, including former constituents. The purpose of the visit was to assume his new role after the formal handover ceremony with the outgoing prefect, which took place in the late morning. Upon entering the city, he and his entourage received a warm welcome from his colleague, Prefect Musa Aden Migane, who was appointed as his successor in the Obokh region. Many other important figures from the region were also present, including the President of the Regional Council, Sharmanki Hassan Allale, the Deputy Abdi Khair Bouh, Deputy Prefect Umar Idris Suge, heads of various uninformed bodies based in the region, influential women from civil society, and other regional citizens. The new Prefect of Ali Sibih was taken to his new residence, where he was warmly greeted by officials and enthusiastic residents. Subsequently, he was received in the reception hall by prominent individuals as after a brief and courteous discussion with regional officials. Prefect Abdul Malik Muhammad Bonita was escorted by officials to the prefecture's premises, where he was warmly welcomed by residents from all social categories. Shortly after, the headquarters of the Ali Sibih prefecture hosted the power handover ceremony between the outgoing prefect Mr. Musa Aden Migani and the new prefect of the region Abdul Malik Muhammad Bonita, who was recently appointed during last Tuesday's cabinet meeting.
The baccalaureate exams, a significant milestone for high school students in Djibouti, were successfully conducted in multiple regions of the country, including Ali Sibih, Diqil, Arta, Tajora, and Obok. More details with Dini Musa.
The baccalaureate exams, a crucial milestone for high school students in Djibouti, were successfully conducted in the 5 different regions of the country, namely Ali Sibih, Diqil, Arta, Tajora, and Obok. All organized their respective examination centers and welcomed candidates for the general and vocational baccalaureate exams. In Ali Sibih, the regional council, in close collaboration with the prefecture, took responsibility for welcoming, accommodating, and catering for high school students from the sub-prefectures of Holhol and Ali Ade. Regional Inspector Ahmed Hamadou Ibrahim, along with Prefect Musa Aden and Regional Council President Sharmanki Hassan Allali, supervised the baccalaureate exams at the High School of Arre of Ali Sibih and the League of Ali Sibih. A representative of the Ministry of Decentralization also attended. The government officials expressed satisfaction with the organization and visited various facilities, including the school catering center and athlete sports study center, where the teachers supervising the composition rooms were accommodating. Following his appointment on June 11, 2023, the prefect of the Dakhil region, Mr. Hassan Abdi Roble, visited the examination centers to oversee the written exams, which began that morning. Accompanied by a large delegation, the prefect observed the decorated examination venues for the candidates of the 2023 session. A total of 864 students participated in the written exams for the baccalaureate in the Dakhil region. Additionally, the president of the BAC jury, the regional education department head, Farah Douale, and representative of the Ministry of Decentralization, including the president of the regional council, Mahad Hussein, took part in the official visit. The baccalaureate exams were also conducted at Artas General High School in the Hotel School. This marked the second consecutive year in which the exams were decentralized to the interior regions of Djibouti. The president of the deputy prefect of Arta, Muhammad Fawzi Ahmed Assowi, the president of the Arta Region Council, Ilmi Bouh, the secretary general of the Ministry of Decentralization, Mr. Ise, the regional inspector of Arta, Mr. Hassan Ali Hadi, and other regional executives ensured a true assessment of the examination halls and the smooth operation of the exams. With over 141 candidates registered for the general baccalaureate at Arta General High School, all necessary arrangements were in place to facilitate a successful examination. The Tajora region witnessed the successful commencement of the baccalaureate exams in 2 examination centers, namely Tajora General High School and the Tajora Technical High School. Led by the deputy prefect of the Tajora region, Mr. Habib Jilani Burhan, a delegation comprising the vice president of the regional council, the vice president of the BAC jury, senior officials from the Ministry of Decentralization, and with a total of 304 candidates, including 246 for the general baccalaureate and 58 for the vocational baccalaureate. The exams began as scheduled. The presence of all assigned teachers and secretarial staff ensured the seamless examination process, and the center managers then managed to operations to ensure a successful outcome. And last, in the Obokh region, Deputy Prefect Mr. Muhammad Awad led a delegation that visited the examination centers to observe the smooth running of the baccalaureate tests. The delegation expressed appreciation for the decentralization of the exams, which eliminated the need for students to travel to the capital city. This initiative, carried out in collaboration between the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training and the Ministry Delegate in charge of decentralization, aimed to elevate the logistical challenge faced by candidates in the past. The delegation visited the Obokh General Secondary School and Obokh Technical High School, where the exams were conducted for both general and vocational baccalaureate candidates.
The United Nations Humanitarian Coordinator with the Occupied Palestine Territories, Lynn Hastings, has stated that the hundreds of Palestinians in the occupied city are at risk of forced eviction by Israel. The UN official declared on her Twitter account today, Sunday, elderly members of the Sub-Lebanon family could be forcibly evicted from their home where they have been living since 1954 in the old city of Jerusalem. She further added hundreds of Palestinians are at risk of forced eviction in East as well. This devastating practice, which is contrary to international law, must cease. The occupation authorities have set a deadline of June 11 for the eviction of the Sub-Lebanon family from their home in favor of settlers. The EU reiterated its opposition to the settlement policy and the measures taken in this context, including forced evictions. And that's all for this news. Thank you for joining us on the radio television of Djibouti, and have a good night.